Let's now have our next lesson. In this lesson, we're going to show how we're going to transform some equations into quadratic equation. Let's have the following videos. There are some equations that can be transformed into quadratic equation. Let's have some series of examples wherein we can transform these equations into quadratic equation. Let's start with a rational algebraic equation 4 over x plus 4 over x plus 6 equals 1. So if it is an RAE, a rational algebraic equation, we need to find first its LCM or least common multiple. We're going to multiply it by its LCM. The LCM is x times your x plus 6. So x times your x plus 6. Then we simply divide the LCM to the denominator and then multiply the result to your numerator. Let's write first your numerator 4. Then let's wait for the result. X times x plus 6 divided by x. So we are going to cancel your x. Then, so that what's retained is x plus 6. Plus, we write your numerator 4 again. That's a numerator. Times. So if we are going to multiply this to x plus 6, so we're going to cancel the x plus 6. What's retained is x equals 1 times your LCM x times x plus 6. So after that, divide and multiply LCM. We're going to multiply and simplify this result. So 4 times x, that is 4x. 4 times 6, that is 24. Plus 4 times x, 4x equals this 1 times x, that is x squared. Then x times 6, that is plus 6x. We don't have any x squared here. So, ito na lang yung ililipat natin sa right side. So, we're going to have x squared plus 6x. We have 4 plus 4, that is 8x. So, minus 8x. Then, minus 24. We're going to simplify this. 6 minus 8, that becomes x squared minus 2x minus 24 equals 0. That is already your quadratic equation. So let's see if we can solve this quadratic equation. Yes, we can solve this by factoring. So x minus 6 times x plus 4. So we're going to have x minus 6 equals 0. So the value of x is 6. And x plus 4 equals 0. So the value of x is negative 4. And this is now the solution for that rational algebraic equation. 6 and negative 4. Now let's try these two examples. We have first x to the fourth minus 6x squared plus 5 equals 0. So if we are going to notice, we don't have any squared value. Okay. We're going to let the middle term as the value of a. Any variable can do, but let's just use a. So let a be equal to the middle term, which is the x squared. So in that case, we retain the value of 5, that is the constant. Now instead of 6x squared, this now becomes minus 6a because your x squared becomes a. Now if your x squared is your a, your x to the fourth is just double of your squared. So that means this becomes your a squared. Again, because your x to the fourth is equal to x squared raised to 2. And your x squared is a. So, a squared po yung value ng x to the fourth. Equals 0. So, since this is already a quadratic equation, we can now factor. That is a minus 5 times a minus 1 equals 0. By 0 product, a minus 5 equals 0, a minus 1 equals 0. So the value of a is 5 and the value of a is 1. Do we stop over there? Not yet. So we continue, but since a is equal to x squared. So you're going to write here that your a is x squared, so x squared equals 5. And your x squared equals 1. Since this is not yet squared, we're going to get its square root. So that means the value of x is positive and negative square root of 5. Then get the square root again on this side. X is equal to positive and negative 1. So again, yung x squared na ito, ginawa nating a. So this becomes negative 6/8. This retains as 5. Instead of x to the 4, that becomes a squared. Since it's a quadratic equation, we factor it. A minus pi times a minus 1. We get the value of a, which is 5 and 1. Then we go back to where we let it. The value of a is x squared. So instead of writing a, that becomes x squared. Babalik tayo kay x squared. Then, since this is in squared, we're going to get the square root of both sides. Then, the value of x is positive and negative. The square root of 5 is square root of 5. And the square root of 1 is 1. Now, this one is another example, but we're going to do the same process. So, we're going to let your a be equal to the middle, which is negative x raised to negative 1. So, this still becomes negative 2. This now becomes a. The same idea with this. Your x raised to negative 2 is just x raised to negative 1 squared. So, that becomes a squared equals 0. Then, we are going to factor. We have a minus 2 times a plus 1 equals 0. So, that means the value of a is 2 and the value of a is negative 1. We simply transpose by zero product property. And then, since this is a reciprocal, we're just going to get the reciprocal of the value. So, x raised to negative 1 is equal to 2. X raised to negative 1 is equal to negative 1. We just get the reciprocal. Since when you say x raised to negative 1, that's the reciprocal. So, the reciprocal of your 2 is 1/2. And the reciprocal of your negative 1 is still negative 1. Now, let's have this example. We have 2 plus x squared, then squared, minus 7 times 2 plus x squared plus 10 equals 0. Just like the example a while ago, we're just going to let this value. We let a be equal to this one inside the parentheses since they are the same. Only if they are the same. So, that is 2 plus x squared. So, instead of writing 7 times 2x squared, that is already 7a plus 10 equals 0. This will become a to the second power. Then, this is already a quadratic equation that we can factor. A minus 5 times a minus 2 equals 0. That means the value of a is 5 and the value of a is 2. But since we let the value of a here, unahanin natin ulit to, which is 2 plus x squared equals 5, which is 2 plus x squared equals 2. We just simply transpose, so x squared equals 5 minus 2. So x squared equals 3. This will become x squared equals 2 minus 2. So x squared equals 0. But we're not yet done since it's already squared value. Go here on the side. So x squared equals 3. Get the square root. So the value of x here is positive and negative square root of 3. And the other one, x squared equals 0. So the square root of 0 is just simply 0.